basically I was raised up here in Wolford Heights, moved away. And then when my husband and I got married, we talked about retiring up here. But once we moved up here, Danny's desire and his dream kicked right back into wanting his gym. So after being up here and searching around for buildings and locations, we could not find one big enough for everything that we wanted to do. So we settled on just a little bit, almost 2,000 square feet. We signed the lease on about March 30th and ordered everything, paint, electrical, everything. The doors opened, ready to go by June 3rd.
Wow.
Yes.
So you had it up and running in like 2.5 months or something like
exactly.
that.
And in our gym, we have hoist equipment. So we have top of the line hoist equipment, the rocket system, especially fitted for the demographics up here. It's an older demographics like Danny. Danny's 64, I'm 60. So we just want to make sure that we don't have machines that do too much torque on the joints, ligaments, and connectors. We want to make sure everybody stays in one piece.
Yeah.
Is that the equipment that you kind of use your body weight, where like you lift up as you move it? I love that stuff.
Oh, it's great. And you add the weights to it. So we've got several pieces that are free weights you could add. Most of them are the pins where you just pin the weights into what you need. And that's when you're working with the older demographics like us, where I appreciate not having to lift up a lot of free weights and move them on and off.
Yeah. Because otherwise, I mean, that's tough anyway. If like your average age is, like you said, a little bit older. So. But that's really cool. So what, I guess your husband and you, obviously that was always his dream to be in the fitness industry and to start a gym. But like, how did he even get started in the fitness industry? Can you tell us about him a little? Because he has some really cool, I think street cred in the fitness industry for sure.
Right. Well, first, when he was born in San Diego, but his family moved to Spain. And in Spain, he got to be raised around his uncles, and his uncles were very loving and adoring with their wives. And then they were very, very good caretakers. And his, abuelito, or how do you say in Spain, uncle, he was literally taking his bare hands and sewing leather shoes with the needle so his forearms and his arms were massive. And Danny's this little young boy, and he says, I want arms like you, my uncle. And after 13 years of there, they moved back to San Diego. He got involved in weightlifting. And I think at age 19 is when he first had his competition, and he did really well. And it's so funny because Danny and I talk about all the pictures and video that people have today that are in the arena of working out, that from our time, we don't have pictures. We have like a Polaroid so we don't have a lot. But he competed, and then from there, he was getting ready to compete again. And so he said, I want you to go see this guy. And he literally hooked Danny up with Vince Gironda. And the person said, Danny goes, I don't have the money to pay him. And the guy, forgive me for not remembering his name. He says, don't worry about it. It's covered. So Danny met Vince Gironda, and Vince Gironda says, you've done really well on building your body, but I can make it better. And so Danny, when they're cocky at like 19, 20 years of age, Vince Gironda had to jerk some knots in his backside, but actually Danny learned so much, and he competed and he was winning stuff. But most importantly is that Vince Gironda became his mentor and his master in learning so much that to this day, Danny's very honoring towards Vince Gironda.
And that's at a time where it wasn't common to have a coach, because this is the 80s, 90s that he's competing in?
Yes.
So 80s, 90s, people didn't have coaches like they did today, like Kevin Labone, like all those people, they just did what they did and went on stage, right? Like it was, right. Am I wrong? Like, wasn't it rare to have a coach back then?
I would say you had your, was it Joe Wheatley's and all, or some of those guys and stuff, because I know that I believe even like people like Arnold Schwarzenegger and stuff have all gone to Vince Gironda. So he was definitely the master of his time. And it's really kind of sad when you think about the credit this man should have in the bodybuilding. It's coming to light more and more, and the respect is getting better and better. But it's the man was before his time. He would tell people how he can teach people to curl a pencil, and you could get a pump and a bicep with just curling a pencil. I know. It's how you hold it. It's the form. It's the full range of motion in the state of contraction. That's what it's all about.
Wow. So that's amazing. Oh, pardon me. So, but among, I mean, him being unbelievable in like the fitness competition, like now he coaches people, right? Like how Vince did for him.
Yeah. Danny has coached, I think, want to say, forgive me if I'm wrong on my numbers, anywhere from about around 500 different competitors in his span of decades. And he has over 2,000 wins. He's got trophies on the wall. I mean, I could plug 1, 2, 3, 4, a good 24 or more trophies that are in this room. We got trophies on our gym at the wall. We have swords of his champions that, through honoring him, they turned around and gave him their trophies. You know, that coveted sword that everybody wants. One was turned around and gave to Danny after the guy won it. That was very honoring. That is something special. That's another thing that's getting to be rare. Is the people today, you could be a child care person or a burger flipper at Burger King. You want to change your career, you go online, you get your training certificate, you walk into a gym and say, hey, I want to be a trainer. And they say, great, pay us our rent money. You could train here, no problem. We don't let that happen at our gym. You have to mentor with us for several months. You have to prove to us you could train us. You have to have a cert. You have to be licensed. And then when you start getting your first clients, we're going to shadow you to make sure there's no injury happening, that the person it's a result-oriented gym. So, yeah, that's Danny's history. That's why Danny's been successful.
Yeah. Wow. It's funny because a lot of time, like what you just said, a lot of gyms do, where you go online, you get your ACE certification, which I think people that don't even study could probably pass that. Yes. But it's more to be a trainer, because it's not just, all right, learning from a book and doing it. It's also being a motivator and getting every last bit of energy out of somebody for every single reps to give it all they got. So that's awesome that you guys do that.
Yes. Well, we feel it's necessary, because I see trainers that they'll work somebody's chest and then they'll walk them across the gym, and not at our gym. Yeah. And then they'll walk across the gym, and all of a sudden you see them like on a calf machine. And I'm boggled. And so you're supposed to work your larger muscles, go down to your smaller muscles, and know what the primary in the exercise, what the primary muscle is, and what other muscles that hit when you're working on the secondary muscles. And you don't want to over fatigue those. You don't want to start giving them elbow issues, knee issues. We saw a guy take his client to a bench press cold, put a ton of weight on it, and he had him bench press it, and it literally ripped his chest muscle. And Danny
he didn't even warm up?
No. And Danny was literally running across the gym to say, stop. I didn't want to tell you. And it was, this trainer did it to the gym owner at this other gym. It was, we were shocked. Well, it's what you live and learn. And trainers, they can injure people. We don't want that, because who wants to take somebody's dream or somebody's final willpower to finally get into a gym and make them so sore they're in bed for 3-4 days and they don't want to come back?